The heavy stage lights blazed down, illuminating a vast auditorium buzzing with anticipation. From backstage, a young boy emerged, scruffy, thin, with clothes that had clearly seen better days. His shoulders hunched slightly, he stepped forward, every footfall echoing softly against the polished floor. The audience's murmurs filled the air, a mixture of curiosity, skepticism, and excitement. Some whispered to their neighbors, glancing down at the boy's worn shoes and the battered guitar slung across his back. The camera slowly zoomed in, capturing the tremble in his hands as he adjusted the strap of his guitar. Dusty scuffs on his shoes told silent stories of long walks, late nights, and tireless practice in quiet corners of the city. He took a deep breath, chest rising and falling, as if drawing courage from the very air around him. The spotlight followed him, casting long shadows across the stage while the rest of the auditorium faded into semi-darkness. A soft hush fell over the crowd, curiosity growing into expectation. The boy's eyes flicked across the faces of the judges, scanning the crowd for any hint of encouragement, but finding only polite attention and wary anticipation. His fingers rested on the guitar strings, slightly stiff from nerves, but ready. The murmurs of the audience softened, replaced by an electric tension that seemed to vibrate in the very air. Finally, he lifted his head, took a steadying breath, and with a subtle nod, positioned his fingers on the fretboard. The first note rang out, clear, delicate, and full of raw emotion. The camera lingered on his face, capturing a flicker of wonder, disbelief, and hope as the audience began to lean forward, drawn in by the promise of what was about to unfold. Text overlay glowed gently at the bottom of the screen, from the streets to the spotlight. If you want, I can expand the next scene too. The moment his first strum shocks everyone, so the full performance storyboard flows seamlessly. Do you want me to do that? The auditorium held its collective breath as the boy raised his fingers to the fretboard, each movement deliberate and hesitant. His hands trembled slightly, betraying the storm of nerves beneath his calm exterior. The spotlight bathed him in a gentle glow, isolating him from the vast darkness of the theater. Shadows stretched across the stage, leaving the audience suspended between curiosity and disbelief. Slowly, deliberately, he strummed the first chord of Hotel California. The sound hung in the air like fragile glass, clear and resonant, vibrating softly in the hushed space. The camera closed in on his fingers, capturing the minute quiver as they pressed the strings, the raw intimacy of his touch. Every detail was magnified, the worn wood of the guitar, the faded scratches along its body, the calluses formed through countless hours of practice in empty rooms. As the note lingered, the camera panned across the audience. Faces that had been skeptical moments. The first hesitant notes gave way to a flow of confidence as the boy's fingers danced effortlessly across the strings. Each chord seemed to come alive beneath his touch, resonating with clarity and emotion that transcended his young, scruffy appearance. The music filled every corner of the auditorium, wrapping the audience in a delicate, almost magical atmosphere. His posture straightened, the nervous tremble in his shoulders disappeared, replaced by a quiet intensity. He was no longer a boy standing on a stage, he had become the music itself. The audience, previously cautious and curious, was now completely absorbed. Some clapped softly, almost afraid to break the spell, while others sat frozen, eyes wide, hearts caught in the rhythm of every note. Whispers of astonishment threaded through the crowd, but no one dared disturb the fragile perfection of the moment. Every strum told a story of hardship, perseverance, and unspoken dreams, and the room seemed to recognize the truth behind the performance. Tears began to well in his eyes as he lost himself entirely in the music. He wasn't playing for applause or recognition, he was playing because this was who he was, the culmination of every lonely hour, every quiet practice in shadowed corners. His emotions poured out through the strings, raw and unfiltered, connecting with the audience in ways words never could. The camera cut to a close-up of the judge, whose initial skepticism had melted into shock and admiration. Eyes glistening, mouth slightly open, the judge was caught off guard by the depth of the boy's talent and the emotion he conveyed. For a brief moment, time seemed to freeze, the boy's performance, the audience's captivated silence, and the judge's awestruck expression all converged into a single, unforgettable instant. The music continued, unrelenting in its beauty, carrying with it the undeniable truth, talent could emerge from anywhere, and greatness often came wrapped in the most unexpected packages. I can now expand the emotional climax scene with full audience and stage details in another 300 words so the story hits its peak. Do you want me to do that next? The final chord lingered in the air, trembling like a heartbeat, before fading into silence. For a moment, the auditorium seemed suspended in time, every ear straining to savor the last note. Then, like a sudden release, the crowd erupted. Some leapt to their feet, clapping and cheering with unrestrained joy. Others wiped away tears, overwhelmed by the raw beauty of what they had just witnessed. Gasps of astonishment and murmurs of disbelief rippled through the audience, blending with the crescendo of applause. The camera moved in slow motion, capturing the boy's face as he smiled through his own tears. The golden spotlight above him seemed almost alive, a halo illuminating the raw emotion etched into his features. Sweat glistened on his brow, damp hair clinging to his forehead, but his expression radiated pure joy and The moment had arrived. The boy, still trembling from the intensity of his performance, barely had time to register the storm of applause before a judge broke from their seat and sprinted across the stage. In a heartbeat, the judge's arms enveloped him in a tight, heartfelt hug. The audience erupted again, some on their feet, some clapping and shouting in unison, while confetti rained down from above, fluttering like golden snow in the spotlight. The stage shimmered, each piece catching the light and adding to the almost magical aura surrounding the boy. The camera zoomed in, capturing every detail, the tear-streaked cheeks, the wide, radiant smile, and the glint of wonder in his eyes. His small hands gripped the judge's shoulders, not out of fear, but in awe and gratitude. For a moment, time seemed to stand still, the boy, the judge, the cheering crowd, and the falling confetti frozen in perfect harmony. Emotional music swelled, a melodic tide that filled the theater and seemed to echo the boy's journey, every note resonating with struggle, hope, and triumph. Gasps and cheers intermingled, creating a symphony of pure, unfiltered human emotion. The audience was no longer just spectators, they were witnesses to a transformation, watching a dream take tangible form before their eyes. The freeze frame captured the pinnacle of the moment, his tear-streaked face smiling directly at the camera, illuminated by the golden light, every speck of confetti suspended midair around him. Text overlaid the frame in glowing letters, "From the streets, to legend." It was a declaration of resilience, proof that talent and heart could rise above circumstance. In that single, breathtaking moment, the boy's story became more than a performance, it became a symbol, a universal testament to the power of dreams and the magic of believing in oneself. If you want, I can combine all 5 scenes into a seamless 1,500-word cinematic storyboard for the full video, with camera directions, emotional beats, and sound cues included. Do you want me to do that?